Hello, I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is Graded for NXT and 205 Live, where I take a look at each show, segment by segment, and award each little bit a grade from A+ to F. But first, what the hell is going on? Why are NXT stars, the biggest NXT stars, just turning up on Raw and SmackDown? What does it all mean? It's really scary. I don't want NXT to be without them. I guess we're just gonna have to watch and see how it all unfolds over the next couple of weeks, but enough about that. Hit the intro. So we start things off, as always, with 205 Live, and our opening match of the night is Humberto Carrillo versus TJP. This one kicks off a little bit slowly. Both guys are proving themselves to be a bit of an even match for each other, but, you know, it quickly picks up. Carrillo manages to break free. He hits his massive springboard deep arm drag, and he goes for a dive because he sends TJP to the outside, and as he's halfway through running to make the jump, Drew Gulak and Jack Gallagher appear, and Gulak screams, "We talked about this." Obviously, after their conversation last week, Gulak and Gallagher have reached an agreement with Humberto, and they're going to come down, be at ringside, and Gulak must be getting into his head. So I think Gulak in this one is going to try and stop Humberto from doing anything overly flippy, and at ringside, as a quick little bonus, Jack Gallagher is sat, whenever Drew Gulak is talking, taking notes on his iPhone, just so they can, I guess, review the match later and give Humberto some feedback. Now, with those two at ringside, Carrillo really tries to go for the ground game, but he doesn't seem to have as much success as he does with this high-flying lucha style. He then gets cut short on a springboard attempt. TJP cuts him off and drives him into the mat, and that's where the match stays for a little bit of time. After some joint manipulation, Carrillo manages to escape, but he gets driven into the ring post by TJP when he moves out the way. After a little bit more joint manipulation from TJP, Carrillo gets a really good comeback, managing to showcase some of his lucha style and hit that big dive from earlier in the match. Carrillo goes for his weird corner yoga-y finishy thing, but TJP manages to roll him through into an STF, and he is in agony, and he gets so close to tapping, but he manages to get to the rope. Out on the apron, the men trade blows, but Carrillo is able to hit a missile dropkick and connect with his finish to pick up the 3, and post-match, Gulak and Gallagher lift him up, Lex Luger style, and jump around in the ring celebrating. I'm going to give this one a C. It was a nice little match, but it just felt like it didn't have enough time to really get itself going. I did find it a little bit weird that TJP lost to Carrillo, but I guess at the moment he's one of the guys that doesn't really have a storyline that he's pursuing at the moment. And with Carrillo on the rise, it probably makes sense for him to pick up some high-profile wins. We then go backstage, and Tony Nese tells us that he proved last week that he's the better man out of him and Noam Dar, and he's very determined to be the best version of himself that he can be, and he's going to prove that by winning the title at Mania. We then keep it backstage, and Mike and Maria are being interviewed by Kayla, and she keeps asking them about Cedric Alexander. Maria runs her down for being so disrespectful as to not even bother trying to talk to Mike about himself. She says that Mike doesn't take the easy way out, he works hard, and he's going to prove it tonight by destroying Cedric Alexander. We then go back to the ring for Aria Davari versus Johnny Lyons. Davari comes out, runs down the crowd, runs down his opponent, and says that he's going to beat him into nothing. He also takes some shots at the New Orleans Saints and says that unlike the Saints, he's going to get to go to his company's Super Bowl. It's a super quick match this, so I'm just going to refer to my notes. Davari drives Lyons into the corner, stomps a hole in him, drags him about the ring while kicking him, hits a hammerlock lariat, locks in the Cobra Clutch, and picks up the win. As I always say, I can't really grade squashes the same as I'd grade every other match, so I'm going to give this one a C-. It does its job in the way that it makes Davari look a little bit menacing, a little bit horrible, but also sniveling because he's only beating this guy so badly because he's a rookie. We then go backstage, and Buddy Murphy says that he feels sorry for Drake Maverick because he keeps destroying every single challenger that Maverick throws his way. He then confirms that the next #1 contender will be decided via an 8-man cruiserweight tournament. And then we go back to the ring for tonight's main event, which is Mike Kanellis versus Cedric Alexander. Both men start off grappling for control, but Mike is able to keep hold of Cedric, drive him to the corner, and take him to the mat. Cedric is able to quickly capitalize by hitting a meaty-looking arm drag, but when he comes off the ropes for a springboard, Kanellis just hits him with a right hook. The aggression here from Mike is off the scale great. I really like the idea of this bitter character going further and further in his determination to win a match. Alexander is then able to hit the neuralizer, and he goes to the corner to springboard off, but stacks it falls to the floor and starts clutching his knee. Kanellis then starts brutally stomping the leg and he tries to lock it up, but Cedric manages for a cheeky roll-up and he can't quite get the 3. Kanellis tries for his Michinoku driver and backpack stunner, but neither are effective. Both men end up out on the apron and both men end up taking each other out with a kick. Mike then just starts crawling away from the ring. He's going all the way up the ramp, and when Cedric comes toward him, he manages to grab him and hits a massive, horrible looking spinebuster onto the metal lip at the bottom of the ramp, and Cedric sells this like he's just been stabbed in the face. Mike then sprints down to the ring as the referee is counting, and Cedric is slowly crawling his way back, manages to just get in the ring before the 10. Kanellis then works the injured leg, locking in a Boston Crab, and Cedric almost taps, but he manages to just get the rope. And then this is where I thought that Mike was going to win the match. Cedric hits a dive to the outside, throws Kanellis back in the ring, and then Maria gets in the way and allows Mike to get his bearings. Once Cedric gets back in the ring, Mike hits the rolling cutter, the ref counts 3, but then the bell doesn't ring. So Maria and Mike are celebrating, they're jumping up and down in the ring, the referee's trying to get their attention to tell them no, Cedric's shoulder got up. Eventually they listen to the referee, Maria leaves the ring, Mike can't believe it, Cedric hits the lumbar check and picks up the 3. And then after the match, Drake Maverick tells us what the first round matches are going to be next week, and they are Kalisto versus Nice and Gulak versus Kendrick. I'm going to give this match an A. I loved everything about it. I think that Cedric came off looking really strong, Mike comes out of it looking even more desperate to win, and I just want to see him get heelier and heelier and heelier. But in terms of an overall grade for 205 Live this week, I think I'm going to have to give it a B-. There was some great wrestling, but it didn't really feel like a lot got done. It just felt like a bit of a setup week. But that was 205 Live, and now on to NXT. So we kick things off this week on NXT with Roderick Strong versus Alistair Black. What a matchup. Roddy doesn't really get many singles outings these days, so it's really nice to see him in the ring, and with Aleister Black, it's two of the most gifted guys that NXT has to offer. So there's a lot of back and forth in the opening stages of this match, but Black quickly capitalizes with a series of strikes. Roddy, however, isn't very far behind, drives him to the outside, and connects with a dropkick. Roddy then plants Black into the stairs, drags him back in the ring, and starts fresh with a weakened opponent. He just keeps him on his toes, he takes him to the mat, wears him down, throws him back to the outside, and slams him into the apron. Once back in the ring, Roddy starts pushing Black up to the turnbuckle. He's going to go for something off the top rope, but Black manages to escape and starts mounting a comeback, which ends with the springboard moonsault. Both men now go blow for blow. Black attempts the Black Mass. Roddy manages to avoid it and gets himself out the ring. With Roddy now on the outside, Black tries to climb the turnbuckle to do his moonsault to the floor. Roddy manages to get up on the apron, cuts him off, gets him into a torture rack, and then drops him neck first onto the turnbuckle. Strong continues a very good showing, but he gets caught short and hit with the Black Mass. Aleister Black picks up the 3. And then obviously, because it's Undisputed Era and we can't have a nice ending to anything, they come out and they jump Aleister Black, but quickly Ricochet comes running down to make the save. I'm going to give this one a B+. I think Roderick Strong needs more singles outings. He's consistently proved throughout the course of this match alone that he is one of the very best that NXT has to offer. Black still looks like a beast and Ricochet makes the save, which is really nice, but I'm starting to worry that NXT is going to feel a little bit hollow once Black, Ricochet, Ciampa and Gargano have all left. We then cut backstage to a pre-record and we're being introduced to Rachel Ellering, or at least we're supposed to be getting introduced to Rachel Ellering until Shayna Baszler comes running into the women's locker room and kicks off, and this huge argument ensues. And then before the next match, we go back to commentary, who announce the return of the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and the first 4 teams announced are the Undisputed Era, Eichner and Bartel, Forgotten Sons, and the Street Profits. But we go to the ring for Xia Li versus Mia Yim. Both women seem very evenly matched in the get-go. Xia Li manages to showcase some of her martial arts skills, backs Yim into a corner, and sort of forces the referee to put some space between them. Both women then lock up, all respectful and sportsmanlike, and carry on. It's really, really cool that Li gets to showcase some of her athleticism in this one. All the reversals, the coming off the top rope, the up and over, all the roll-throughs. It's just really cool. Yim starts to mount a comeback, but Li keeps cutting her short. Eventually, Yim manages to connect with a forearm and hits the protect your neck to pick up the 3. But this isn't where the match ends. Immediately after the bell, Shayna and the Horsewomen come running down, beat down Yim, and then out come all of the trainees from the argument earlier in the backstage video we just saw. However, because they're just trainees, they're quickly disposed of, and Yim eats a running knee from Shayna. I'm going to give this one a C+. It wasn't an especially long match. It was sort of like a glorified squash, I guess, in a way, but it's really impressive that Li got such a good showing, and I think with the Shayna storyline going on the way it is, where she's wanting to put all of the the women in NXT on notice. We need more credible female wrestling threats, and Li has proven herself right now to be a credible wrestling threat. We then cut backstage and Johnny Gargano is with Candice and they're interrupted by Ciampa, and Ciampa offers his help in tonight's main event, but Johnny cuts him off and he says, I don't need your help, I won that belt without you, I don't want your help tonight. And then we go to the ring for tonight's main event, Velveteen Dream versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. Gargano gets control early, driving Dream into the mat, but Dream is able to reverse his way out of it, and he connects with this slap that is so big it sends Gargano sailing out of the ring. Back in the ring, Dream continues hitting the double axe handle and dragging him all over the shop. Gargano then says, oh, so it's gonna be like that, is it? And starts laying in strikes and gets more aggressive. He turned up for a wrestling match, but now he wants a fight. He then takes Dream down to the mat and starts hyperextending the arm, and it looks horrible. It looks like it shouldn't bend that way, and it really just turns your stomach. He takes him to the rope, does the exact same thing, sends Dream to the outside, and the crowd are slowly starting to turn in Dream's favor. Gargano then takes him to the barricade, lays in some strikes, takes him back in the ring, and maintains control. Dream hits a massive spinebuster and mounts a comeback. He sends Johnny to the outside, and he connects with the double axe handle to the floor. Back in the ring, Dream connects with a famouser, but he can't put Johnny away, so he drives him up the turnbuckle. He's going to try for an avalanche Dream Valley driver. Gargano, however, has it scouted, trips him, and connects with a spinning flatliner. Both men then go back and forth. Dream cuts off a slingshot spear, hits a DDT, goes for the purple rainmaker, but misses. Johnny lays in a brutal super kick, but Dream still kicks out. The crowd are getting incredibly hot for this one. There's then a horrible snap suplex from Gargano to Dream on the outside onto the ramp. Both men in this one are really taking it to each other. Gargano manages to connect with the slingshot DDT, and Dream somehow kicks out. He starts motioning toward Gargano like, come on, hit me, and Gargano teases the DIY kick. So Gargano starts sprinting toward Dream, who manages to pick him up and hits 2 Dream Valley drivers, followed by the Purple Rainmaker to pick up the 3, and our new NXT North American Champion is the Velveteen Dream. I should note that throughout the match we've been cutting to the rafters where Ciampa has been watching on, ignoring the camera by his side, just staring at the ring, and now, after Johnny's lost, he just shakes his head and walks away. There's not really a lot that I can do but give this match an A. The phases of the match and how the match flowed was exceptional. I like the fact that it turned from a mat game and a sort of respectful wrestling match into a bit of a brawl. All of the stuff on the outside, the selling from both guys, the desperation from both guys, it just worked on every level. And now that Gargano's lost the belt, is he going to go back after it, or is he going to turn and look at Ciampa? So in terms of an overall grade for this week's NXT, I'm going to give it an A-. With all the hype surrounding the new call-ups or whatever it really is and the NXT North American title changing hands, I think we're in for some pretty interesting TV in the weeks to come. The women's division, as I said, continues to grow, along with the Shayna being a dick storyline, so that's all good. And the tag division's hopefully going to look a hell of a lot stronger with the Dusty Rhodes Classic. And there's not really much more you can say about this week's episode of NXT other than it proves that NXT continue to blow the main roster out of the water, and this is just a weekly show. It's great. But anyway, this has been graded for NXT and 205 Live. I'm Sam from Cultaholic. You can follow me on Twitter here. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Cultaholic. And no matter what you do, don't ever forget to hit subscribe and join us.